We know that digital technology has a huge range of benefits. It helps us to communicate and collaborate more effectively, among a large range of other things. We also are well aware that not everything is good. There's a wide range of bad effects from modern technologies, from bullying and censorship to addiction, spying, exploitation, and misinformation. This capacity for technology to be used for both good and immoral purposes raises the question: what does ethics have to say about technology? What does ethical even mean in the context of tech? To think about this, we need to understand a little bit about ethics. Philosophers suggest that there are three different ways to approach the question of what good behavior is: consequentialism, deontology, and virtue ethics. Consequentialism values the rightness or wrongness of an action by the effects that the action has. If an action has good effects and consequences for people, then we say that's a good thing to have done. Within the framework of consequentialism, the ends are thought to justify the means. So things that might ordinarily be seen as immoral, such as censoring people's social media posts, can be justified as good if they have seemingly positive consequences. There are some clear problems with this framework for evaluating behavior, however. One of the biggest issues is who should get to decide whether the ends actually justify the means. Should we leave it up to tech companies, corporations, governments who may not have our best interests in mind? Another problem with consequentialism is that we don't actually know what the future will hold or what the outcomes of our actions will be. This is particularly concerning for tech, where there are some developments, such as artificial intelligence, that may have huge negative consequences we can't predict. Another major way of evaluating ethical action is known as deontology, which tries to advise us to make the right decision based on a set of duties, reasons, rights, responsibilities, and contracts that we're supposed to adhere to. One of the most famous dictates of deontology is to treat other people as an end rather than as a means. This means that we should treat other individuals as actual human beings, rather than just as numbers to boost our follower counts, or other sorts of issues like this. Deontologists often suggest that there is a social contract that all individuals and companies need to uphold, that there are certain principles that we owe to our fellow human beings, even within the digital space, in order to serve the common good. The third major ethical framework is known as virtue ethics, and it asks us the question, in any given situation, what would a good person do? What would someone who is truly wise and thoughtful and moral do in this particular context? One of the major tenets of virtue ethics is that right action depends on your role. So depending on your job, depending on your situation, there will be different ways to think about what the right thing is to do in a particular situation. Virtue ethicists emphasize the need to develop good habits, to consistently practice being a good person, and to always try to abide by the virtues and good qualities that we want to see practiced in the world. Now, each of these ethical frameworks has interesting things to say about the various moral quandaries involved with tech. How exactly they apply depends on whether one is a user, a creator, or a seller of technology. As we enter the fourth industrial revolution, it's imperative for us to think about the ethics involved in new technologies. How do these frameworks help us to think differently about artificial intelligence, automation, blockchain? In a time where virtually every human interaction is mediated through some form of technology, it's important to think carefully about how ethics will play out. Thanks for watching, everyone.